How would you tell people that? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dapper Reacts. And the first thing that we have is that Mothra's going off. So let's take a quick drink for Mothra. You might have noticed from either the thumbnail or from the fact that I don't have anything to put up for the drink counter or the donations tracker, and instead just have some gameplay footage that I recorded like months and months ago. Yeah, that computer that I spent all that time and money getting fixed, it's broken again. So, the plan right now is I'm going to send it back to the manufacturer again, and ask them to simply replace it with a brand new computer.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
should.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Are you?
I
Does
feel
this
like
mean?
this is one of those things where I'm gonna have to record, and his computer's broke again.
Yes.
Now it's whole again.
Are you? Does this mean you're like on? I'm just adjusting this camera here.
I'm on a laptop.
This is the laptop that you got in order to replace your computer the last time it went out for repairs.
Yes,
'cause
this
you
is
needed
my
something in a
my backup laptop, and it is in fact
Wow.
backing me up. I just finished was editing a video that I was going to be editing on my actual computer. It takes longer to edit on this computer because it doesn't have the memory. So
Yeah.
you know, when you're editing, your editor will like load into memory a bunch of like your or not animation, like your video strip on either side, right? So that you can smoothly do playback. How much it can actually put into memory has been much curtailed on this computer, and so it is much slower to switch things around because then it's like, oh, okay, hold on, this program's not going to respond every time we need to like do more than a few quick things. So yeah, it took a lot longer, but there's that. Let's see. I am currently not about to start another fundraiser. Chances are that the most I'll have to pay is like
Shipping.
a couple, like I think
$100.
shipping was like a few $100 last time, which isn't
Okay.
great, but like
No.
it's also not the worst thing ever. So like I'll
It's not.
recover.
That's true.
But that being said, you know, if you do want to help out, super chat, it's fine.
We know for a fact that shipping will cost less than it cost me to throw away all the garbage I had to throw away from my old house when I completed my move
See,
last week.
I had a similar thing. I bought a new mattress a few months ago, and the garbage company was like, "Oh yeah, we'll come pick up your old one for like $200." I'm like, "I'm sorry, no." So for a few weeks in my room, there was an old mattress that I was slowly tearing apart with wire snips and pliers.
Oh my god, are you serious?
I'm very
Shut up.
serious. I was dumping all the
Holy
scrap metal in the recycling bin, and so I just broke
Holy
down that
cow.
entire mattress over the course of a few weeks.
That's hardcore, man.
Yeah, I wasn't going to pay
That is.
$200.
You know,
Instead, I'm going to take a few minutes out of
I-
every day and pull out some metal.
I have to tell, I had so much stuff that I could not even give away. It astonished me.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Hooven's like
I
that.
had like a real wood table. It was beautiful. It's not really my style anymore, but it is a beautiful table. Heavy as hell, like, because it's all real wood. And we put it up on Marketplace. We stuck it out in front of the driveway for someone to pick up. No one grabbed it. So I was like, okay, fine. We'll just throw it in the back of the truck when we do our last secondhand store run. Went to the secondhand store and they're like, nope, we don't want it. The secondhand store did not want the free table.
I have a recommendation.
Well, it's too late now. It went
for
into
the
went to
next
dump.
time that you're trying to get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
There is an entire infrastructure of buy nothing groups, and they're city specific and often neighborhood specific. where you can go, hey, I'm giving away whatever item or items. You post the photos, and it's
Oh.
basically like dibs, first come, first serve,
Oh, yeah.
and they are quite successful.
Well, I mean, our neighborhood Facebook page was less successful
Wow.
in our
Mm.
efforts to do that. So,
Well,
yeah,
I do have to
go
read
ahead.
a few things. So, Ben Thick Tunicate, the Mythicipist, sorry, says greetings and salutations. Well, greetings and salutations to you too. Ben Thick Tunicate, for £10, says AIG are a bag of dicks, but they said it backwards, and we'll take a drink for that. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator gifted 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships, which we will drink for at the end of me getting through the things that we have now. Sapphire Plushy Sorceress Light for $2 says, "Dear Dapper, you are the bomb. Sincerely, Sapphire." Well, thank you.
Nice.
Oh, that reminds me. I also want to say thank Sulu for getting me a DoorDash gift card from my wish list, which I then spent on Wingstop. So there you go. I got a bunch of wings and some fries and a soda. Although I forgot to ask them to put only light ice in the soda, so my soda was mostly ice, which is always a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Tree Clam Tan for $5 says, Kip comes back, Dapper's computer breaks. Coincidence? I think not. AIG are a bag of the production house G.I. Joe cartoons, DIC Enterprises. Thank you very much. I'll take a drink for that.
Very nice.
Medikiki Platypus Librarian for $2 says, as a high priestess of bless Dapper's tech. Thank you very much. I will be breaking out the incense and my Adeptus Mechanicus thurible soon. I say like breaking out like they're not just in the other room, like there's something I have to do. It's just put them together and burn the incense, and there you go. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator says, the machine spirits are restless. No, it's the opposite. This computer is not even plugged in right now. It's resting hard. So Nathaniel Gray for $5 says, here's a bit of help with the new PC. We drinking? With a drink and a Mothra. We'll take a drink for the Mothra. I am drinking, yes.
I am also drinking. Can I share?
Yeah, go for it.
So I went to I am visiting. I'm not at home. So I'm at another person's house right now.
Yes.
And last night we went to do you guys have Total Wine, right? It's like a huge. We don't have this thing in Canada. So this is a real interesting new novel thing for me. It was very exciting. I've been a couple times now, the times that I've been here. So we went to Total Wine last night. They let us sample a couple of wines, which was really nice. And then we selected some bottles, and then I was like, I'm gonna get some beer because I'm actually streaming tonight on my channel. And the last time I was at Total Wine, I thought for sure that I saw cases of McEwen Scotch Ale, which might be my favorite beer of all time. It's made in Scotland.
That makes
it's
sense.
Unlike anything else on the market. It's 9% ABV. It's fantastic. It's a porter. It's like a porter, even though they refuse to call it a porter. They just call it Scotch Ale. I have been unable. All of the liquor stores in my neighborhood, in my town, stopped carrying it at least a year ago, if not 2 years ago. So when I saw it here, the last time I was here, I was like, "Oh, McEwen Scotch Ale! Oh my god!" So we went back and I was looking for it yesterday because I was like, I'm gonna buy some of that because I haven't had it in so long and I love the stuff. And they no longer have it.
Aww.
They now Total Wine has now also stopped carrying McEwen Scotch Ale. So as an alternative, I got Trooper Beer, which is
not
the
sponsored
official beer of Iron Maiden. So I've never had it, but it's pretty good.
Nice. I am drinking grapefruit soda with Blanco tequila in it. Yeah, that's it. Or Blanca tequila? I don't know. Tequila Blanca? Whatever. It says Blanco on the bottle, I think. Doesn't matter. That's what I'm drinking because Basically, I kind of was in the mood for some kind of margarita-ish stuff, but I didn't want to spend money on like buying triple sec and like all the other ingredients, so I just bought cheap ass soda and some cheap ass tequila. Tree Clam Tad. Oh, sorry. Vish, are you drinking anything?
Coffee
There you go.
and some water.
You should put some Irish cream in that coffee.
Nah.
Okay. Tree Clam Tad says the Dragon of Mars rejects Dapper. First of all, Tree Clam Tad, you are in fact a heretic. So get out of here. But yeah, I think you're right. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, I prophesy that the only giant evidence we shall see is evidence that Biddle is a giant buffoon. I think that's a pretty reasonable prophecy.
That's pretty good.
I am not sure what the full name is here, and YouTube likes to be a jerk, so let me see if I can actually find it. The Turtle Moves for £5 says AIG is a bag of prepuces and the appendages to which they are attached. Thank you very much. I will take a drink for that. One of those rare instances where... sorry.
I was reading somebody's comment in chat.
I don't often see the word prepuce. Vandalia 1998 for $1.99 says, are we reacting to the superior bottom vid? No, unfortunately, only the top vid this time. But maybe next time I'll get a versatile vid, and that'll make it all better. Isabella Tracer for $9.99 says, answers in Genesis are a receptacle containing a large number of sexual organs, most often associated with males. That's true. We'll take a drink.
Nice.
Nether6, who's been a member for 27 months, says, yeah, Kip, not everything with a penis is a male.
I was agreeing.
Yeah.
I was re-emphasizing the fact.
Or
that's right.
My favorite thing about flatworms is that they duel with their penises, and whoever gets literally just stabbed through the body wall, they just there's no opening or anything. They just stab each other anywhere, and that one gets pregnant.
Wow, you know what? I gotta say, I think compared to many other organisms, we got off okay in the reproduction function.
Your version of dating isn't dueling another person with spike barbed penises, and whoever stabs the other one first, that one gets to be the father.
Thank God. Right. Really. Yeah.
My favorite one is bedbugs, who do have two sexes, and the female has a perfectly functional gonopore, which the male could use. They don't, though. They also have a spiky penis that they just stab somewhere into the abdomen of the female.
Intelligent design, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
It's very real.
Yep. Nether6, who's been a member for 27 months and is at the annual level, says, can't stay to watch live. We'll catch up tomorrow. Yeah, have a Godzilla, and AIG is a bag of dicks. Thank you. We'll take a drink for that, too.
So, Stephen Clenard has scolded us and told us to not kink shame. So...
I don't know that, like, abdominal trauma is a kink, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just not in the right kink spaces.
A couple people have asked if I am in the U.S. Yes, I in
temporarily
fact am. Temporarily, yes.
Against advice of Dapper.
Right. So I passed through customs on my side of the border. They do this at a few of the Canadian airports because of the amount of U.S. traffic. So I always feel better being able to do that, and then I can just walk out into the domestic terminal wherever I am in the States, which is better, right? I also made sure that I was flying into an airport out of which ICE does not operate. And then my plan now is just to stay inside. And I feel like those are good ways to minimize the chance that I'm going to be absconded and die in a detention center.
Your chances were already pretty low because you're not brown and you don't speak Spanish.
That too, yes, yeah. Very true. I have to tell you though, when I went through customs on the Canadian side of the border, the guy asked me where I was going, what I was doing, and then he says, "What do you do for a living?" And I said, "This is always a little tricky when you're like a YouTube content creator and social media person makes your money in these online spaces." So I just said to him, I said, "I'm a writer."
I mean, so wait, you gave him your dog's job?
No, it's absolutely true that I
Aw.
write for a living and make money with things that I write for a living. So I said that, and he says to me, he goes, no writing when you're down in the United States. I'm like, oh, of course not,
Well, you're
never.
not traveling with your dog, so that's not a problem.
Right.
Shut up. So, but it was weird. I wasn't entirely sure how to take it because then he said that and then he smiled at me and he kind of smirked. And I was like, "Oh, is he being like
So
we all know that you're going to do this when
so
you're
it's one of
down
those
in the
things where
States,
like
but
technically you're not supposed to be working in the United States, but on the other hand, how would they possibly stop you from writing if you wanted to, and how would they ever possibly find out? And also, I have trouble imagining that if that were to actually become a problem, that anyone would actually really care, because quite frankly, all the people enforcing immigration here in the United States are too busy being racist.
Yeah,
yes, very
with
true.
permission from the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Dutch Tunicate Official for $2 says, AIG is a bag of cat droppings, and you know what? Technically it doesn't count, but I'm taking a drink anyway. Let's see. Tree Clam Tat for $2 says, Dapper calls me a heretic. Nope, I did not call you a heretic. Yet his cogitator fails. First of all, I called you a heretic. That's T-E-K at the end. Thank you very much. I did not call you a heretic. And yes, my cogitator did fail. But only one of my cogitators failed. So, yeah.
well, Tree Clam Tad informed me Total Wine doesn't have E40 malt liquor. So
Unacceptable.
Oh,
who's really failing?
Lieutenant Math
Really?
Navigator for $5 says, traumatic insemination is proof that life was intelligently designed. Yeah, sure it is. Also,
Jeez.
we got 5 drinks to drink because we were gifted 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships. So, wait, we're not quite done because Tree Clam Tat for $5 says, what do you do for a living, Kip? I make fun of Wes Huff and Michael Jones on the internet. Then they called him
Yeah.
Apologia for the rest of the trip.
Seriously.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take 5 drinks while Kip tells us his favorite Wes Huff factual error. But do it fast, Kip.
Oh my God, how many? So I think everybody knows my favorite West Huff factual error was Ha Tikva.
Yes.
Easily
Yep.
the best. And the reason why is not just because he mistook Ahavtika, which means I love you in Hebrew, for Ha Tikva, which is the name of the Israeli national anthem, translated as The Hope. He did one better, where he put it on the screen and then he separated the elements of this word in order to show you where I love you
And it
occur
was
in this
just
word
made up?
that says none of those things.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
It was just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss, Wes. I am wearing the wheels off of that error.
All right, this is something I know I knew at one point, but I don't remember. So I know that, like many languages, you are inflecting a verb in Hebrew for the person and number of the subject.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember from
In general.
in general. And I remember from
yeah.
many other instances in Semitic linguistics where you can use the enclitic pronouns to encode the number and the person of the direct object by
Correct.
sticking that at the end of the verb. You can do that in Hebrew too?
Yes,
All right, just making
Yeah.
sure.
you certainly can.
Yeah, I like that.
Mhm.
That's one of my favorite features.
So, Ohav
It's very efficient.
is the root,
Right.
which means to love.
Mhm.
T, Ohav T, is the
I'm doing it.
It's the first person verbal. What I always say is the first person verbal suffix when I teach my students in the perfect, which is usually associated with a past action, and then the ka is
you.
the pronominal suffix.
But
Yes.
isn't that for second person masculine?
Yes, it is.
So if I wanted to say a
Good
haftiki,
call.
if I were talking to a woman, right?
Ohav tich.
Tich? Okay. I was
Yeah,
guessing
it's just
from
the-
I was guessing from Arabic. It didn't work. It
Yep.
sometimes works.
Very
Not
close.
always.
Now there's probably some historical linguistics at play here because there is in the imperfect stem, distinguishing the
This is the nerdiest shit.
second person feminine pronominal, second person feminine form of the verb from the second person masculine form of the verb adds t to adds a hirikyo to an e to the end of the root. So yeah, it's
I will say,
yes, Tree Clam Tad, sorry. One of the things that I have to get on when my life gets back to normal is making a Hot Tikva t-shirt. I now what my reluctance in doing so is that I don't want my wearers to be embarrassed when they encounter Hebrew speakers and readers who look at the shirt and go, "Oh, yeah, another one of those
here's
guys
what you do.
who doesn't know."
Underneath, in small letters, but in Hebrew, you put, "This is just a joke."
That's a good one, actually.
Because anyone who's
Or ask me
competent
about
enough,
the joke.
yeah, or ask me about the joke. Because anyone who's competent enough in Hebrew to be off-put by the bad Hebrew will be good enough at Hebrew to be able to read that this is just a joke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We've got, I think, one or two more super chats. Let me double check. Let's see. So Dutch Tunicate Official for $5 says, "My guppies swarming my cat's tongue when she managed to get on top of the tank one time is proof of intelligent design." With a disgusting pelagic tunicate, but also a kaiju Carmen. We'll take a drink for Carmen.
Wow.
Let's see. Metageeky Platypus Librarian, who's been a member for 21 months and is at the tetrapod level, says, "Yep, not a linguistic stream," with a Carmen and a Mothra. And we'll take a drink for that. Look, I am happy to host linguistic streams. I'm just not a linguist, right? So,
except you
I am also
traumatized
not a linguist.
Josh Bowen the last time.
It's true.
I was trying to give him an easy interview. I thought those were easy questions.
Can I say something?
Yes.
So Josh Bowen texted me this morning to inform me that Facebook informed him that today is Josh's and my 5th friend anniversary.
Aww.
Yeah. Nice, right?
Very nice. Where is Waldo for 5 beaver bucks says, "Smart people who like to learn things are the coolest. Just thought I'd throw a few bucks to support the show. Thank you." All right. So we have now caught up, which means it's time to actually talk about Dan Biddle. So Dan Biddle here. Kip has not been here for any of the Dan Biddle streams.
None of the Dan Biddle streams?
None. Nope. You have missed every single one.
How long have I been away?
Well,
it's
so
been like what?
2
3
weeks?
Something like that. But we've actually had 3 shows, but the first one you weren't on because it was just a Tuesday where I had to make up for my normal Tuesday guest not being here. So in an emergency, I was like, "Vish, can you show up?" And yeah, she did.
Yeah.
So
She's good at that.
Tree Clam Tag for $2 says, "T-shirt, Hot Tikva dash West Huff. Princess, wrongly, and Princess." That could also work.
Yeah.
And then for
Possible.
$6.66, My Unfinished Journey says, "Hail Nero, hail Daps, Kip, and Vish, and hail persevering through adversity," with a fist emoji and also a game controller emoji. Which, by the way, the Arrow Dodger got me a new game controller. So that was a while ago, and I did say thank you, but it did remind me. It is very nice. It comes with a charging stand because it's
Also,
wireless.
Nathaniel Gray is asking, why do flat earthers say that NASA means to deceive? And in Hebrew, what would to deceive actually be?
It's I think the root. I wish I had my computer.
Well, he figures that out. I can answer the first part. It's because Flurfs don't know anything about the Hebrew language.
Yeah. So they saw
That's
a
true.
Hebrew root that's Nun Sheen Aleph, I believe.
Aleph.
Right.
Yes.
And because they don't know what the little caret is over the S in the transliteration that you get in your little lexicon, they just saw Nasa. And they don't know that little caret is a sh mark in there. And they also don't know which side of the sheen you put the dot on to differentiate it between a scene and a sheen.
Yeah.
Now, full disclosure, sometimes I also have to think through that when I see it.
Right, but like you also know what the caret is, and you can think through it, and you know to do so.
Yes.
So, yeah. Interestingly enough, the difference between the S and the SH letter in Arabic, it's the same letter shape, but one of them has 3 dots over it, and that is the only difference.
Ugh.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. There is another letter in Hebrew that makes
Samek?
an S sound.
Mhm.
Yes, the
Yeah.
Samek. And I do believe I would have to go back and look, but I do believe that in modern Hebrew they use the Samek to
They do.
spell NASA.
Oh, it's just
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
To spell NASA.
I've apparently seen that it gets used a lot in loan words, and like, okay. Originally,
That it does.
in like ancient Hebrew, that was actually one of the emphatic consonants, and we're not sure how emphatic consonants were realized in most Semitic languages. In modern Arabic, they're usually pharyngalized, but we have evidence that in other Semitic languages in the past that actually bothered to keep them as distinct sounds, that they had other realizations like palatalization or some other kind of like simultaneous articulation with some other part of the mouth, and we're not clear on what it is. So that's one of those weird parts of Semitic linguistics is what exactly is going on with all these emphatic consonants. Anyway,
Yeah.
Dan Biddle is here, and Kip. Okay, the probably the most important thing that you missed was that before this started, Dan Biddle told us that he didn't want us to think of him as some kind of conspiracy theorist. At which point, he then proceeded to give us just a whole bunch of L.A. Marzulli conspiracy theory talking points, including how the
Yeah.
Smithsonian Institute is hiding something like 80 giant skeletons that they don't want you to know about, and you can tell because they talked about the giant skeletons in their 1890s ethnology publication, which I then just went and got because it's on archive.org, and you can just go look at it.
Oh, yes.
And no, they
Yeah.
don't. That's not in there at all.
Nice.
So,
So, a question, because I was reminded of this again this morning, watching Bree's show. She talked about the Kandahar giant a little bit.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
God.
That's the thing that
She
didn't
has
happen.
she has also she's said to me that she wants to do a show with me at some point. She's been talking about it for months, about doing a show on the Kandahar giant, which I would love to.
That would be fun,
I'm
yeah.
very excited to do it. As soon as we can sort that out. But I bring this up because is Dan Biddle, has he talked about the Kandahar giant, and is he going to talk about the Kandahar giant?
Hold on. We got 2. Okay, don't want to miss one. Mine finished stock for $5 says, "Don't get Hebrew comically wrong. Like and share the stream instead with the winky tongue out emoji." Yes, please do. And then Tree Clam Tad for $2 says, hashtag McClellan2895. What does NASA mean in Hebrew? And I believe the answer is basically that it doesn't mean anything.
To lift up.
But also, hey Kip, you just got fucking unleashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Nasa in Hebrew means to lift up.
Oh, there
and
you
that
go.
actually it actually works really
does,
well in Hebrew
yeah.
because
Well,
that's what
right.
rockets do.
Yes,
that is actually
it
really
really
good.
does.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, "I'm not a conspiracy theorist, professional inept conspiracy theorist." Exactly. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I am going to go ahead and add in a new super chat goal, right? And it's going to be to get us a stream where I'm going to read everything that AIG sent me in the mail.
What?
Because AIG sent me something in the mail, Kip.
What did they send you?
They sent me their Christmas publication for this year, which is weird given that it's August.
They want to make sure that you have time to read it so that you can order a whole bunch to distribute to your friends.
Yes, obviously. So what I'm going to do though is it's going to be its own bonus stream, because I want to be able to put the camera on and angle the camera correctly, and it's going to require a different setup, and so like it's going to have to be its own little thing that I do. But I will schedule it as soon as I can if we hit that goal. And then Katie Lewis for $5 says, "Exciting scholar news, AJ Levine is the new president of the Catholic Bible Association. It's deeply cool and also funny." All right. Do I know who AJ Levine is? I know who Ted Levine is.
Amy Jo Levine is one of the premier Jewish scholars who does incredible interfaith work
Oh,
and has written a lot of commentaries and
okay.
essays
You
for
might
Bible translations. She's
you
great.
might recognize her from her appearance in Satan's Guide to the Bible.
Oh, okay.
She was in that.
Yeah.
Paul Giaz also had her on his channel.
All right. Yeah, I was blanking on that name. Now I know who you're talking about. Definitely. That is interesting. That is not
by
who
the
I would
way-
have expected.
By the way,
Also,
can I
again,
just
to
say
actually answer the second part of the question that was asked, because I don't think Kip did it, is Florsts don't know anything about the Hebrew language, and also in Hebrew, deceive is often the word nasha. Or sorry, shava. You can conjugate that a lot, but shava, nahash, there's different words for beguile or deceive, to like swear a false oath. So anyway,
thank you.
there you go.
Thanks, Fish.
Yeah.
So so I on a semi-related note to that, I was in conversation with Satan
As you do.
a couple weeks ago, and he shared with me details about his exciting new project
Ooh.
as a sequel to Satan's Guide to the Bible.
Satan Guide to the Book of Mormon?
And no.
Oh.
I'm sworn to secrecy about the details of the project, but I can share that there has been an expressed interest in including Vish for her vocal talents in it
Nice.
as well.
All right. So, we just got done with let's see, with Dan Biddle telling us about some folklore about a giant with stone skin that had to be shot specifically in the face because its face apparently wasn't stone, and apparently he is on a kick where he's like just credulously taking all of this in. So not only does Dan Biddle think that there were giants in North America who are responsible for all the building of the mounds that are scattered around North America, which by the way is just a racist conspiracy theory from the 19th century, right? That's all that is. There's literally nothing else other than that. We know who built the mounds. It was the people who lived there who were normal-sized humans and who are the ancestors of various Native American or First Nation groups that are around today. Like, we have genetic evidence, we have skeletal evidence, we have cultural evidence. That's what's going on there. And now he's going to tell us about a different story from a different Native American group talking about giants. Because remember, lots and lots of stories about physical beings that you have no evidence for and good evidence against. The stories are actually evidence that they really did exist, despite all the other evidence. Because there's absolutely no way that anyone could think to themselves, okay, what if there was like a guy, but he was like big, like really, really big? That's not a thing people can imagine. No. What if big is just beyond the possibility of human imagination? Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, wouldn't Satan's Guide to the Book of Mormon just be the writings of Brigham Young? I am not going to get into that topic, but that is a good point. Are we ready?
I think so.
Okay, here we go.
Another one from the Bureau of Ethnology. In the woods, certain beings were supposed to live which had the appearance of men, 10 feet or more in height and with long arms but small heads. They carried off women, but most Indians thought seldomly they seldomly only attacked men. However, one informant claimed that they sometimes killed and flayed men, and from this circumstance derived their name Lofa, which means to skin. They could run very fast. Some were stronger than men. Some were.
Is that where Lofa comes from?
Loofah?
Loofah?
Like the scrubby thing you use in the shower?
Is that the same thing? Okay.
I very much doubt that word comes from an 1890s ethnography. It seems very unlikely.
Which one? Loofah?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Or that it came from this particular tribe, especially since the people group that he's talking about tend to be like Midwest in terms of like US geography, which means that most of them aren't familiar with like sponges, which is, if I remember correctly, is like the actual like physical ancestor to the modern loofah is just a sponge, by which I mean you take the silicate skeleton of an actual animal, the sponge, and you dry it out, and now you have a sponge that you can wash yourself with. A Tree Clam Tat for $2 says, Justice for Elhanan. Exactly, Justice for Elhanan, the
Yep.
original
Not
And
Slayer
just
of
Elazar,
God.
his super
Elazar
badass brother.
His
Yep.
super badass brother.
Not his
Yep.
brother named Bread for some reason.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, Elazar literally taking on an entire squad, 1v20 or 1v50, and just fighting him till his hand locks up. It's so good.
Yes.
Megan Fox-
He can't lift his sword anymore.
Yeah.
It's just-
Yeah.
Megan
Yeah.
Fox's Giant Boob for $5 says, just a quick PSA, Native Americans aren't a monolith. Just saying a Native American tribe is like saying a city in Europe. That is also very correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually one of the reasons why I just gave the contextualization of like the sort of region we're talking about here. Because, you know, the
Yeah.
mound building societies are... Oh, and also I wanted to offer some clarification. So last week, we were talking about the mound building societies, and the question came up of whether or not their decline was as a result, whether direct or indirect, of colonial contact. And so not only did a number of people check into the timing of that, I did too, and it turns out that those societies declined somewhere around like 800 to 400 years before the European discovery of like the Americas. So we cannot put this one at the feet of European colonists or conquerors, because it was hundreds of years before that.
All right. So Guptu 3 has informed us that loofah is an Egyptian plant. And this has been followed up by a couple people who point out specifically that it's a gourd.
I was wrong there. We'll take a drink for that. That's a Dapper's a professional moment.
Well, you can't be expected to know everything.
The thing is, though, I kind of am, so like, whatever.
Mm.
Which is why I also appreciate when people correct me in the comments, because I do get things wrong, especially on live shows where I don't have the time to look everything up. So, all right, here we go.
We're
Yeah.
not so strong. So, yeah, maybe some different cultures can have these mythical or exaggerated, spooky campfire stories.
Mhm.
I'm just concerned about the trend
not the
that there's
Bible.
20 tribes that talking about this. And if you ask them,
Dude, you found 20 tribes that have stories of giants. That's not significant in any way. First of all, do you know how many tribes there are?
Don't all
So many.
people groups pretty much, like, I
Yeah.
don't know, I feel like giant is just it's just a standard cultural trope at this
Yep.
point, isn't it?
Basically, humans like to exaggerate
We're
things, and one of the easiest
still
ways to exaggerate
doing it.
anything is to just say it's bigger than you think.
We're
That's it.
still doing it.
Yeah, currently.
Ant-Man
Yeah.
can be like a giant, right?
He sure can, and
Like-
then he gets hungry.
Yes.
Yeah, and they also show you the effects of being giant and the limitations.
Yes.
Like, you can't move very fast, and you get super hungry because your body has to adjust for the metabolism.
Okay, all this talk about being a super giant makes me want to hop on Tabletop Simulator and play a game of Adeptus Titanicus. So people who want to play Adeptus Titanicus, let me know.
and you want to honor their history, they're like, no, we're not talking about folklore. There were real creatures, you're real giants, and we didn't like them. We were scared of them. Here's other.
Okay, but
Okay.
Dan,
How is this
Well-
honoring their culture?
it's first of all, it's not right, because we're going through just a centuries old racist trope about, you know, the peoples of the America, the actual humans of the Americas couldn't have built cities,
Yeah.
which is
Jeez.
super freaking racist, especially since, by the way, I don't know if you guys know this. I know Vishanti knows this. Native American groups built a city on the face of a fucking lake.
Yeah, they did.
Really?
Find me a European
Where?
city that
Yeah.
was built. That's what Mexico City is, or was. It's now
Oh,
more of a
okay.
regular city
Was.
because it's been so overbuilt. But yeah, the original
still
Mexico
awesome.
City was built
So
by the
wait.
Mexica on top of a lake.
Is there? Does that mean that there's like a lake buried underneath Mexico City?
Well, there used to be
Oh,
a
it's
lake
not
there.
buried. It's just
It's-
that they drained Lake Texcoco and built like a colonial city on top of it.
Yeah.
But because they drained the lake and haven't like accounted for the fucking water table, Mexico City is actually sinking.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh.
Also, there are
wow.
So
waterways that are remnants of the lake, but they're basically like canals at this point.
So
Mhm.
I know this much too. At the time, that the Spanish conquistadors came to
Conquistador.
see conquistador. Thank you.
Yeah.
By the time they came to see Mexico City, it had a population to rival the size of London.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, it was like well over 1 million people. If I'm
Gigantic.
remembering
Like,
correctly.
so-
Yeah, it was massive.
Mexico, like pre-contact Mexico City, might be one of the most impressive cities that humans have ever built until the modern period.
Right.
Also,
Holy
yeah, in
shit.
like Tenochtitlan was absolutely astounding.
I'm sorry,
Like, the
I believe it's
infrastructure-
pronounced Techno-Titland.
Freaking A. But yeah, like they had all this infrastructure and the way that they did, water distribution, food distribution, all this other stuff. It was just an incredible feat of engineering.
Yeah.
And yet the Spaniards rolled in and were like, oh, these primitive barbarian savages. Like, man, shut up. I
Let's
want to
see
hear
you
shit
guys
from
build a
people that
lake
just
town.
got wrecked from the Black Plague and were dumping their literal feces in the street. Like, get out of here.
Tree Clam Tad for $2 says Dapper omniscience is disproved by computer fault. Correct, actually. If I had been an omniscient, I would have known. That is,
Yeah.
and I would also know how to fix
If you were omniscient, would you even need a computer?
it.
Probably not.
I don't know, because like knowing how a renderer works doesn't make me able to just render things in my
You
body.
could probably just you could probably just like build your own with the wire that you extracted from your mattress.
That's
if you were
literally impossible. That's not
I
how
don't-
physics or technology works. You can't just build anything out of anything.
I have faith in omniscient Dapper.
Well, that's good of you, I suppose. All right.
If Jesus could do it.
Could Jesus do it though? Is that actually a thing that Jesus could do?
No,
Because I
we
think
should move on.
well, so I think that if Jesus could do it, that would rely on the God's omnipotence as well as God's omniscience. So, but
Yes,
yeah.
that is true.
And I was thinking, YouTube is running a little slow. Yeah, it gave me one of those ran out of memories that YouTube loves to do. YouTube, for some reason, is just a gigantic memory hog, and I am not the only person who has that problem. All right.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator says, first I have to switch things back to live chat. Isn't there a trend of native worship of non-Abrahamic deities? Shouldn't he accept the existence of those deities? And the thing is, Christianity has a long-standing workaround for that. They did exist. They were just demons. There you go. Problem solved.
Mhm.
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $2 says, Chinampa agriculture was really cool. I don't know enough about Chinampa agriculture to assess, but I believe you. Sapphire Plushy Sorcerer's Life for $2 says, a floating city was Lonely Mountain in Mexico? So not all of it is floating. A lot of it was built on like artificially constructed like dirt mounds that were in the lake. But
They just dumped a whole fuck ton of dirt in the lake.
But in certain sections where they were going to build, if there was the way that you got around was kind of like in Venice, where you have to like use like boats to move around the city unless you want to swim.
Wow.
Yeah. Extremely
What
cool.
is the point of that?
Defense.
In the first...
Super hard to
got it.
invade a city where the only way in is by water.
Interesting. Really?
Sorry, super hard to attack.
Same as
Easy to
Venice?
defend.
Venice? Same
Yeah.
same reason for Venice then?
Wow. That's
Also,
a lot of
one of those reasons you would like building your city in the middle of a lake.
You can see the attack coming from quite a distance.
Yes, and the attack is going to be slowed down because, and also it's really hard to set up siege engines or towers in the middle of an ocean or lake because they need like solid support. So yeah, it's until the modern period, it was very, very difficult to attack a floating city or a city on the ocean or on a lake. Basically, all you could do was just besiege it and then wait till people start starving. That's it. That's all you can do.
The Spanish did a combo. They, tried to block off food access, and then they sent in smallpox blankets as another tactic.
Yes,
well, I will say
the indefeatable enemy.
Yeah. So
your
anyway, let's continue on. Let's hear other things that are reasons why Dan Biddle thinks that giants are real. They're all going to come down to, well, some people had a story about giants, which, yeah.
Yeah.
My Infinite Journey for $2 says, is omniscience a subset of omnipotence? No, I don't think so. In fact, I don't think so. You might argue that in order to have omnipotence, you need omniscience, but you could hypothetically have omniscience without having omnipotence, right? Like you could know everything, but just be unable to do anything about it, which is kind of what it feels like having a history degree, by the way.
Yeah, seriously.
I think the point is properly demonstrated by looking at Sage and Homelander in The Boys.
Yeah, actually, that's a pretty good
Right?
example there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sage is
Yeah.
much smarter. Well, until spoilers.
And but also like relies on her nearly exhaustive resource of knowledge
Yes.
to keep her safe from
Knowledge is one thing, but she's a good strategist for most of it.
Yeah, that's part of it, right? I think. Yeah.
Here we go.
Paintings and cliff drawings of these.
Hey, buddy, you can't tell how big things are from stick figures on a cliffside, because humans don't actually typically represent things in like strict scale. There's this thing called hieratic scale that humans actually tend to default to, which is to say the more important figures are just drawn bigger. And actually, you
kids do this.
Yeah, kids do that. You can also see it in things like where people put
Hammurabi
their time.
and Nebuchadnezzar were freaking massive.
Yeah. Even today, you can see something similar going on, right? So, I've been involved in like miniature wargaming, and you can tell which models are the most important ones in a person's army because of how much more well painted they are than everyone else, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, this guy's squad of 10 guys with guns will be like base coated, dry brushed, given a wash, and then set aside. But like his cool general in a giant suit of armor with fancy sword and everything, that guy is going to have like careful wet blending and edge highlights and like carefully painted eye lenses on his helmet, and like everything's going to be done with extreme care and precision. It's because it's more important, so you spend more time on it. That's it. That's all it is.
This makes me think of the terracotta army.
Yeah,
I don't remember who the emperor was, but it's seriously one of the most fucking amazing archaeological discoveries. I think.
Oh yeah, because they're all so individually sculpted and
every single one's a unique.
It's not like they just had a mold and stamped everybody out. It's like, oh no, this is probably representing the actual dudes.
Yeah, my hypothesis
is that,
and
the differences of every single figure, and this is just the exact opposite of what you're talking about, right? And this is part of what makes it so exceptional is that it's not just it's so.
My hypothesis actually is that like they actually had the soldiers in this guy's army just pose for this with a sculptor.
I think so.
Victoria Macarios for €5 said there are at least two cities in Germany built into lakes, Schwerin and Braunschweig. I think roughly. I don't know. My German is terrible. One of the boroughs of Schwerin is named Schelfstadt. People making me read German. That is very cool, though. Tree Clam Chat for $5 says, you can do anything and know nothing. Oh no, I'm Gnostic now. With 2 Carmens, we'll drink for Carmen.
Gaucho El... Is that... I can't...
That's El Hanan.
Thank you. Gaucho El Hanan says, Qinshi Huangdi? Literally the first Chinese emperor.
Ah, there we go. Megan Fox's giant boobs for $5 says, reminds me of Peter Dinklage as Atri in Endgame.
Yes.
Oh yeah, as the dwarf.
That was great.
Also a giant. That was really good, actually.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, here we go.
Creatures sometimes with 6 fingers and 6 toes, which is also reported in the Bible. Here's another one, picture of a giant that would actually clip deer in the side of his belt when going out hunting. Here's another.
Is that a deer? That doesn't look like a deer to me, but okay, sure.
What? Where?
Which one are we looking at?
So
here?
the only one that has an animal
What
clipped
the
to its
heck?
belt is on the left, and that looks like a
Yeah.
cat or something to me. That does not look
What
like a
about-
deer.
on the left side.
No, it's the left
Okay.
hand figure, and well, it's on the left side of the figure, but it's on.
Yeah,
like,
no, I'm
right.
on the left side of his belt.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Okay, yeah, that does kind of look like a deer. Sure, fine. All
I
right,
think that, yeah.
I didn't even see that thing there. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for
It's
$2 says Dan Biddle is a
Gotcha.
bag of pizzles. Yes, and you know what? I'll take a drink. I'm thirsty, and y'all. It's been a rough week. I had to earlier today ask Bent if he actually did want me to call an ambulance or not. So,
Oh God.
yeah, it's been rough at Casa Dino. So I'm taking any opportunity I can to take a drink. So there we go.
You do it.
The one with 6 fingers that had to be shot with lots of arrow. This is a petroglyph. There's the Aztec.
Okay, I see the petroglyph, right? But like, all right, the point is just the same. None of this is actual evidence. Here, it's the same thing with Bigfoot, right? Bigfoot researchers love to collect stories of Bigfoot encounters from people,
Yes.
and that's cool
Mhm,
and all.
mhm,
And like, that's the
mhm.
reason
You know
that
what
you
we don't have,
investigate any physical evidence.
Any physical evidence.
Right. And that's the thing, right? Collecting all these stories is impetus to look into it. That's it, though. It's not actual evidence on its own that is scientifically valid. And sure, eyewitness testimony can be a valid form of evidence in like court and whatnot. But science has stricter rules
Science
of evidence.
isn't done in court.
Yeah, science isn't done in court. It has different, and in many cases, stricter kinds of evidence requirements. And if you want to say that a group of biological beings existed at some point or currently exist, you have to find actual evidence. You have to find at least unambiguous, like, tracks or a body or anything that you can identify as not only is this previously unrecorded in terms of the scientific literature, but can tell it's this new thing, we're naming it, all that stuff. The turtle moves for £2 says 6 fingers and 6 toes. Was there AI in the Bible? Yeah.
Actually, technically I was a city.
Well, that's true. That is true. It was actually just a data center,
you know,
but
you
there was
know.
no Hebrew word for data center at the time.
Drawings that were documented by the Jesuits back in the day of killing giants.
You know, ordinarily he would hate the Jesuits.
Mm-hmm.
This is just an example. There are dozens and dozens of these petroglyphs all over America.
And none of them are evidence of giants, my guy. Even if they're depicting giants, they're still not evidence of giants. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, I have it on good authority from the History Channel that a DNA sample 1 base pair off from human is definitely Sasquatch DNA. Nope, that's just that's just human DNA with a mutation, my friend. That's what that is.
A whole base pair, huh?
1 base, yep, just 1 base pair. I'm taking a drink for that.
That's a copying error.
Insane.
6 fingers, giants, taller people being killed. The whole thing is there.
Okay, I gotta say, this is not as good as an actual margarita, but you know what? Grapefruit soda and some tequila is not a bad drink. It's actually pretty tasty. So
Nice.
it is a nice replacement for when you want like a tequila style thing, but you don't want to have to go through the actual hassle of like mixing things. And also, if you like bubbly stuff, it's bubbly. So
The
Bubbly
Lovelock
is-
Cave
Oh man, now he's doing the Lovelock Cave thing. I hate
Yep.
this so much.
here we go.
is interesting. 50 years ago, you could go there and take pictures of a lot of this stuff. But now you can look at the history, and the facts are they did find some monstrously large moccasins.
But they didn't, though. They didn't. They found some moccasin parts that might have been a little bit wide. And then some people ran away with that. That's it. We actually have actual human artifacts from Lovelock Cave, and they're not giant scale. The people who live in Lovelock
Also,
Cave...
some people today just have wide feet. They
Yep.
make
So-
shoes for it.
True. So is that where this size 29 giant sandals
Yeah.
figure comes from?
That's what's going on there.
So they're just a little on the wide side, and they extrapolated from that how long they would be based on an average width
And
of
the
a human
they
foot.
they who extrapolated were not like archaeologists. It was other conspiracy theory types, like
creationists.
Yeah, generally, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it's like ancient alien types, because
Yeah,
there's a lot of overlap.
Same thing.
But
A lot of overlap.
yeah, there's a lot of overlap. Not quite the same thing, because like most ancient alien types are not like the Earth is 6,000 years old, and there was a global flood 4,500 years ago.
What is this thing? The giant pestle. What is this that the person is pictured beside?
I don't know exactly what that artifact is, but I mean it could be a giant pestle. But that's another thing.
What is a pestle?
So when you have a mortar and pestle, the pestle is the object that you actively use to crush up the things that are in the bottom of the mortar.
Okay.
So, you have a mortar and pestle? And if not, how do you crush up your whole spices?
I don't. So.
Kip. Kip does not know how to cook, is what I'm hearing. So when you get coriander seeds, you just put them in whole?
I do. I don't use coriander seeds. No. A lot of things that I cook with are prepared.
Like dried in a little tin or a bag?
Yeah, when it comes to coriander,
Way worse.
yes.
Way worse.
I understand that, but you know what? I cook so infrequently with coriander that it's
What about your
it's not worth my
peppercorns?
time. What about my peppercorns?
You just put them in a grinder like a rube?
Yeah.
Wait,
Rube.
or are you just buying pre-ground black pepper?
No. I have a peppercorn.
My black pepper dispenser has a grinder in it. You just twist the lid.
Yes.
It's way more fun to put them in a mortar.
Whatever. It's to the point now where I don't even have to have a peppercorn mill, because I just, when my old one is empty, I just buy a new one at the grocery store. So
Doy's ending says, "Yeah, what about his peppercorns?" Wait, how do you add cloves to things then if you don't have a mortar?
Again, cloves are a thing that I also do not cook with very often.
My goodness, Kip, you might be the whitest guy that has ever been in a kitchen.
True, that is true.
I say that as a guy who likes a lot of various dishes from Europe that are in fact made by white people.
I also, yeah. So, yeah.
All right. We are going to take a quick break because it is time to refresh drinks, use the bathroom, whatever. In the meantime, there will be a coming attraction for the next episode of Star Trek Adventures, which was supposed to happen this week, but it actually didn't not happen because of my computer breaking. It didn't not happen because people couldn't make it, because of a combination of a number of things, including some medical stuff, which is not emergency medical stuff. It was scheduled, so I knew about it. Yeah. So the teaser trailer remains the same, and don't worry, we will be having Star Trek Adventures regardless of my computer, because I'm not the producer for that show. Chesh is, and as far as I know, her cogitator is doing just fine. All right, we will be right back in just a little bit. Please stick with us, and yeah, we'll get more of this stuff in next time on Star Trek Endurance.
Captain's Log Stardate 61391.7. Our away team has spent 3 exhilarating weeks sitting through the ruins of an extinct civilization, and one that isn't just an outpost of the Tila Kal on the 3rd moon of Raisenshire. No Federation member has been here before, so we have an exciting report to compile for the Federation Archaeology Council. Spending 2 days moving through a protective biome and digging through old structures while in EV suits has me longing for a long sonic shower. We depart the surface today.
The archaeological work has been very fruitful, and the crew have many artifacts that will interest Federation archaeologists greatly. But they have also brought something else back with them. As the ship starts to fail and the crew becomes affected, they will learn the sinister truth of what befell Raisenshire, and they will have to avoid its first doom while not transmitting its second doom to anyone else. Can the crew recover the ship and stop this sinister force from spreading? Find out next time on Star Trek Endurance, only on the Top Hats Off channel. All right, we are back. Thanks for sticking with us, everybody. I wasn't sure if I had the right intermission, so I just used my Star Trek one because it seemed on theme. Whatever, it's fine.
Nice.
All right, so you know what? The quick commercial thing, I'm gonna try to truncate a little bit. I'm sure everyone knows that this channel is only possible because of the support of my viewers. If you are interested, check out the Patreon. It's linked in the description. There's a join button below this video. You get early access to videos. You get access to my cool Discord server. There's other perks at other tiers. You can also render for me if you want, which is actually extra important since my main rendering computer, which is the reason it's expensive, is because my rendering computer is currently out of commission. So go check out how to render for me if you want to help me get things rendered, because I am still producing videos, and it still requires rendering and stuff like that. Let's see, what else? Yeah, there's a merch store. If you don't like the stuff in the merch store, click through the actual merch store. There's more stuff in there. Let's see. I also have some wish lists that are linked to the description. There's one for Throne, one for Steam. I've been playing through one of the Steam wish list games that I got recently, which is Wolfenstein: The New Order. Having a lot of fun, blowing away Nazis. So that's, yeah. They are the one group of people that when you kill them, you don't have to feel any kind of moral conflict. Because they chose to be the kind of people who want to commit genocides. So, there you go. All right, I think that basically sums that up, and we're going to dive back into the Dan Biddle, because, like, I don't know, I don't want to spend a lot of time doing commercial stuff.
Can I just say that, yeah, I agree with noise ending here. Metal Geeky Plotibus Librarian said, I had ghost pepper coffee once accidentally. That woke me up fast.
Yeah, I bet.
Noise ending says, ghost pepper coffee sounds intense, and now I really want to try ghost pepper coffee.
Well, speaking of really hot things, and my wish list that I just mentioned, my wish list does include a box of Carolina Reaper chips. So if you want to get me some Carolina Reaper chips, then you know, I don't know. You could check that out.
I bought barbecue chips and Doritos last night.
Too bad you couldn't get ketchup chips because we don't have them down here.
You have no ketchup chips. That's true.
Yeah, part of that is because the flavor profile of ketchup in the U.S. and in Canada are not the same, and I do think Canadian.
Is that right?
Yeah, it is. It is a little true.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think Canadian ketchup works better for a chip. American ketchup would be way too much sugar. It would just be like sweet chip.
Yeah, it would just be like a sweet.
I actually specifically buy less sweet ketchups.
If you haven't had them, ketchup chips are pretty goddamn amazing.
Yeah,
like I've heard. Yeah.
They're wow. Have you not been to Canada, Vish?
I have been to Canada when I was like a kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I've been to Canada, I think 3 times as an adult. It might have been 2.
You've had ketchup chips.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also got super drunk in Vancouver.
Oh, that's a good place to do it.
Yeah. Well, the Chamber of Commerce was paying for my drinks. So
nice.
I had as many of them as I could on the dime of
the Vancouver Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
Really? What was that? Were you in the Navy? Was that?
Yes, I was. They were happy to get like 5,000 people spending money on a ship. So like just 5,000 people
Wow.
pouring into Vancouver,
Hey,
all with bank accounts
I
full from a long deployment.
I just learned, and you're a good guy to talk to about this because you sat on a nuclear reactor on an aircraft carrier for
That's
a
true. I
time.
have done that.
So I only just learned in the course of the last 2 days that the USS Abraham Lincoln
hmm
has been
Oh yeah.
out of port
About 240
for
days. Yeah.
240 days,
I think it's a little bit more by now, but yes, about that.
and they're drinking like gray water and eating shit, and people are ready to kill themselves and
Yep.
mutiny because
Yeah.
of this. Is that yeah? So I don't know, like what's that about? I mean,
So basically, Pete Hegseth is too incompetent to create a rotation of carriers.
uh,
And so the thing is, aircraft carriers can sustain themselves for quite a while, and they don't normally need to take on water in terms of like potable water. That's usually created by on the ship itself out of seawater. It's desalinated.
why is their desalinator not working? Is that what's the deal
That's the
with
thing is
that?
they can go down. And when they go down, what usually happens is the first thing is that certain like you go on things like restricted showers and things like that, right? So no one's allowed to shower because the showers are fresh water.
And that can be gross.
Yeah, the toilets are seawater, but the showers are
Makes sense.
salt water or fresh water. Yeah, because if you wash yourself with salt water, you're just going to be salty. You're not clean. You're just crusty with salt. That's
Yes.
defeats the
Yeah.
point. So but then eventually you can go to like restrictions on drinking water, and it can do things like all right, well the coffee machines just aren't going to work because we can't afford to spend water on like coffee or whatever. I haven't actually heard reports of them literally drinking gray water. I'm not sure how you would get gray water into the potable water streams other than intentionally
Okay.
crossing the pipe. So I doubt they're actually drinking
Got it. All right.
gray water. But what's probably happening is that they're on pretty severe water rationing. Also, obviously, the ship doesn't make its own food, so you have to get food to the ship, which usually happens in port. But underway, you can get a underway replenishment, but that's still going to be a lot harder to do, and so you're going to have less of it happening. So, there's Mothra. We'll take a drink from Mothra.
Does that also have something to do? Because the Abraham Lincoln is patrolling I assume, patrolling the entrance of the Persian Gulf right now.
Yeah, so
right?
it can
Is that what they're
depend
doing?
on where you are,
Yeah.
in terms of like how easy it is to get new supplies. And so it looks like they're running low on basically everything.
Wow.
And also like when you do an underway replenishment, you're generally not like restocking the commissary with like deodorant and stuff. So they're probably just out of deodorant overall.
Right.
Because
That's
like
also gross.
yeah, like when you go on deployment, or at least when I went on deployment, right? Usually I grabbed a bunch of toiletry stuff, including toilet paper. I usually went out with a sack of toilet paper because you cannot trust that
Wow.
the heads are going to have enough toilet paper. But yeah, so it looks like there's also a lot of bathrooms that are out of commission. And I don't think that we're going to see a mutiny, but sabotage is definitely a realistic possibility. I would not
Yeah.
be surprised if things start getting sabotaged. Yeah. Yep. Because sabotage has happened in the Navy before, recently.
So for the purpose of forcing their hand, whether you just have no choice but to get
because there are things you can do on an aircraft carrier that will make the carrier essentially inoperable for combat, but able to get home.
Okay.
Because basically, as long as you don't destroy anything to do with like the propulsion plant, then the ship can move places. But if you say things like sabotage the gears or the valves and whatnot involved in like the steam catapult system, or if you cause like actual like damage to combat systems.
Loves those steam catapults. He's a huge fan.
Yeah.
So I think because they make cool sounds and there's lots of steam, he really thinks that's cool. So Normandy Foxtrot also mentioned this, that 4 people have tried to jump from the flight deck.
Yeah.
So that would kill a person.
Not necessarily. It's possible that it would kill someone, and it depends on like what time of day you do it and what the ship's up to. So like if the ship is at anchor in the daylight, that's not going to kill you.
Okay.
You might break some limbs. That's possible if you hit the water the wrong way. But
So how far down is that?
oh goodness. I want to say it's like 40, 50 feet,
Jeez.
but I don't remember off the top of my head. I mean, like,
Wow.
it's like jumping off of the high tower, right? But like, you can
Yeah.
survive that.
Yeah.
Hitting the water is not going to kill you. What's most likely to kill you in an overboard situation is if they can't find you. So the most dangerous situation where you could jump overboard of a Navy ship is if it's at night and you're going at a decent clip.
That sounds like a terrible way to go. It really does.
I don't want to talk about that too much, but yeah, it doesn't sound great. Metageeky Platypus Librarian for $5 says, a friend used my coffee grinder to grind up some dried ghost chilies instead of my dedicated spice grinder. Ooh.
Ugh.
Oh,
The
God.
legacy remained. It was Shitfire Godzilla. We'll take a drink for that. Yeah, that fucking sounds rough.
Wow.
All right. I'm going to hit play on this. And also, okay, so here's my prediction. If the Lincoln is not relieved soon, we will hear about damage to the Lincoln that sounds suspicious, and it will have been sabotage. And I base this on the fact that the Navy has experienced sabotage in the last couple decades a few times already, specifically on aircraft carriers. So like sabotage happens in the Navy, and it's almost impossible to find out who did it, and so that person will almost certainly get away with it. And I would never tell you, if you're watching this, say on the USS Lincoln, that is the morally correct thing to do because of how immoral this war is, and that it would be laudable for you to do that. I can't tell you that because that would be illegal, and so I'm not telling you that. All right, here we go.
Maybe I could, because I'm in Canada.
Yeah, but
Oh, dang, everything just froze.
Oh,
That's
really?
weird.
Didn't freeze on my end.
I think we're...
That's weird.
How's the chat doing? Is everything okay, chat?
Let's
I
see.
don't know what's going on
I
with
think-
my
Oh,
side.
Normandy Foxtrot said they have another carrier already going in to relieve it next week or so. Well, I hope that the next thing they do is they pull into a port somewhere, because those guys need to get on land.
Yeah.
Yep.
They really do.
Yep. The longest I was out to sea at any one time, I think, was
that.
just over 100 days. A little over 100 days.
And you said how many days for the Lincoln?
They've been there for almost 250, if I remember correctly, with no port call.
Wow. And after 100 days, you were like...
After 100
Give me the
days, they
fuck
gave
out
me
of
2
here.
beers.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And a day off. Well, no, not a day off. A day of nothing but watch standing in terms of what work I had to do. I still had to stand watch, but I didn't have to go and do like maintenance and stuff that day.
All right. Okay.
Because that's what a day off in the Navy underway is you don't have to do maintenance that day. You still have to stand your watches because those aren't optional. Like, it's like being a farmer. Like, you don't get to not milk the cows, right?
Sure. Yes.
Like this.
Right.
So the closest you can get to a day off is where you don't do all the farm work. You just do the stuff that has to be done.
That has to be done. Yeah.
Right. All right, here we go.
The Lovelock Cave, because the Native American legend is that the granddaughter of the chief had a dress that was woven with the red hair from some of these giants, and they backed them up into a cave. They didn't like them because they were cannibalistic, and they set the cave on fire and killed all the giants. You can go there today. Yes.
Okay, but here's a more likely scenario, right? The people who killed the Lovelock Cave inhabitants, whom we know weren't giants, because we have like remains and artifacts from them that aren't giant size, right? Maybe they remembered that, because this also happened at a time when Lovelock Cave was on what is now a dry lake bed, but at the time was a ever shrinking lake that more than one group of people were trying to use for resources. In fact, some of the artifacts we found in Lovelock Cave have been things like duck decoys.
Interesting.
So, yeah, because it was a lakeside culture. And so what was probably happening is that this was a battle over which people group got to use the diminishing resources in the area, and the Lovelock Cave culture lost that. And the current people who have stories about their ancestors fighting off the Lovelock Cave people just embellish those stories over time, as humans are wont to do. That's a much more plausible explanation. We would need to actually find actual giant remains, but we haven't. We found regular old human remains.
The cave has got burn marks all over.
Sorry.
Dapper.
Yes.
Somebody has said they think you might have missed a super
Did I miss
chat.
a super chat? I'm sorry if I did. Let me scroll up. I read Metageeky's most recent one. Oh,
Did
I
you
did.
read,
I missed Victoria
yeah,
Macarios, €2.
Victorious.
Yeah, question.
Yeah.
Why crush clover? Did I say clover? But then the Carmen. I'll drink a drink for the Carmen. No, not clover. Sorry, cloves. Cloves are not the same thing as clover. That's what that was. Cloves are a spice. I don't know what the word for clove would be in German. But let me see if I can find it, so that way it'll be a little bit less. So I'm gonna paste what like the automated translation told me into chat as a translation into German for clover, and or sorry, for clove, because cloves and clover are not the same thing.
Okay.
And the reason I crush up cloves is because I buy whole cloves, and that's way too big to put in my food, because then there would just be big like twig-like things just sticking out of my food, and I don't want that. But it tastes better when you fresh grind it.
And inside of the cave, it's been documented that they found huge giant sandals, 17 inches, which is about size 29 there. And they also found a giant pestle. You can hear the secular museum.
I like how he says pestle, because the T is normally silent, but like whatever. So here's the thing about a giant pestle. People today use giant pestles to grind large amounts of things in a big mortar. That's it. That's the whole explanation. If this is actually a pestle, then all it means is that there was probably someone doing communal food preparation and grinding up large quantities of various bits of like plant matter, usually, which is what you usually grind in a mortar and pestle. Like, that's it. It's like going to a mine and seeing the giant tracked vehicles that are running around the mine and thinking only a giant would need a vehicle this big. Or maybe sometimes humans need larger scale objects for larger scale production. I don't know. Maybe that's the thing. Could be.
Curator of the museum in that area saying on film, I think this was probably used by the giants, because it's a pestle that no human or 2 or 3 humans is going to use.
Okay, first of all, that's plenty small enough for one person to use, but also that museum is run by another creationist who is also biased about this, right? This is like using the displays at like that Creation Museum in Kentucky as your evidence for Noah's Ark. No, sorry.
So we're sure it probably is a pestle then.
I don't know.
The object.
I don't know. I'm just saying, if it is, it's small enough that one person could use it. You would have to be strong. But you know what? If your job in the tribe is you're the person who uses the pestle to grind up the spices and other things that you're putting into the tribe's food for communal meals, you're probably going to get strong, right? Like,
oh yeah, probably.
Specifically in the muscles that you need for that one thing.
Yeah.
Basically, this is just Dan being a weak little modern man who doesn't have to work for like anything physically, being like, "Oh man,
soft hands."
Yeah, basically,
soft hands.
Yeah, this is someone who's probably never had a trade.
I cut my thumb pretty bad. And
I remember.
My
oh wait, no, this is new.
No, these are new. In the move, this one, I sliced it on a bumper of a Toyota Tacoma. That was helping, and this one's really deep. I found in my storage area a box with a bunch of old prints that I had totally forgotten about. So this was cool that I found a bunch of these old prints that we had once framed, but had put away because the glass on a couple of them broke, and we were gonna get them fixed, but then it just kind of never happened. But as I was putting them away in my closet in my new place, I cut almost the entire knuckle off of my thumb on the broken glass. Yeah,
stop injuring your hands. Wear gloves. All right, Petite Flower for $5 says he's obviously never seen a Thai auntie cooking. Yeah, really, or basically just anyone who is like preparing large amounts of food in a situation where like you don't have modern kitchen appliances like spice grinders, right? Like, cooking is not an easy thing to do. It is labor intensive, and it has been for most of history. And like, look, my mortar and pestle are not very big because I am not cooking for a large number of people. And if I were, I would just get a spice grinder. But you don't have that option if you're like in a rural village or something, right? Like, just don't. So you just get good. Roshina for 199 says semi trucks prove giants. That's true. Yeah. Monster trucks prove giants actually. So
Yeah.
all right. Here
So,
we go.
listen, I mean, before we start, a lot of people, like Maya has said that people need to stop allowing me near sharp objects.
It's true.
And
Correct.
Prixie says that I should stop hurting myself moving. And the good news is I'm done. The moving is all done. But also, it's fine, everyone. It's fine. Like this stuff, it's healing. It's good. It's okay.
You're like Chesh with burns. Woman's always burning herself. You're always cutting yourself.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I do cut myself quite a bit, but I need access to sharp objects in order to.
Then you need to start wearing some gloves.
Seriously. Dutch Tunican Official for $2 says, I made pie crust by hand before with a Godzilla. That is itself a labor-intensive thing. Also, I watched a thing where someone was making phyllo dough by hand, and I was like, never. I am never going to do that. Not once am I ever going to do that.
Thank you.
Jeez. All right, here we go.
I forget what the weight is. You can watch our video about that. But he's like, yep, it was found right near the caves, and we think it's possible that this is, goes along with the history of the giants in these regions. And of course, there was skulls that you could
possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, by we, he means the people at the Hack Museum that is full of pseudoscience nonsense, right? It's like when the guys doing the KJV is the original Bible were saying we. Like, that's so you two, right? Just you two? Got it.
Just you guys. Yeah.
I'm still not over the whole God taught Adam the alphabet by random butterfly wing patterns. I'm still not over that.
Somebody, it sounds like somebody's offering to fundraise a pair of chainmail gloves for me.
That would be cool.
I mean, I wouldn't say no.
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says he probably thinks cooking is easy because otherwise it wouldn't be work women do. Yeah, guys, the traditional work that women do is always easy. That's how it works. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why so many men are just not doing any childcare at all.
Yeah, there's nothing easier.
It's so easy.
Yeah, food prep and childcare are definitely the easiest things to do in the entire world.
Yes.
That's why DoorDash is so unsuccessful, because everyone just cooks their own food.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
true. So,
although actually, I do enjoy food prep when it's like a reasonable amount. So sometimes it's fun.
I enjoy food prep. I find it cathartic, but I have been, not while I'm moving.
Yeah.
So
I'm a big proponent that the ability to cook is not something that should be gendered, and that everyone should learn to make some dishes and be able to throw together a decent meal from what they have in their house, which is in part like buying some stuff that you can use as ingredients, and in part just learn to cook a little bit, right? It's a good skill to have, whether or you're a man or a woman or non-binary, because everyone needs to eat. So learn to cook just a little bit. I know Maya disagrees with me because Maya doesn't want to learn to cook.
Go there and take pictures of that are no longer publicly available. Here's the Lenny Lenape, a historian, that says the cannibals began to grow until they became vicious giants. It is these giants who are buried in the Indian mounds.
Okay, but Dan, they're not, though. Because we find burial sites in these mounds all the time, and they are consistently regular-sized humans. Sometimes they're tall, right? Just like sometimes basketball players exist. But they're not giant. Gaucho El Hanan says, is the giant pestle any different to a Mexican metate? I don't know, because I don't know enough about either to make a good assessment on that. So sorry about that. Yeah.
I was going to say molcajete is probably the closest analog to that.
Okay.
Fortunately, the giants finally died out. This is just example. We could just keep doing this over and over again, but some of these earthen structures, you can go up and see how incredibly well engineered they were. They had knowledge of pi and geometry and square root to do a lot of things. A number of them, of the moats, are square within like 6 inches. When
Dan's never going to watch this, but I'm going to talk to him anyway. Did every time you say that, oh, this would have required knowledge of math and geometry, and then you say therefore it had to be giants, what you're doing is you're saying
wild.
that the Native Americans who lived there and whom we know made these things are too fucking stupid to figure out pi. But they're not, Dan. They're not. They're not too stupid to figure out square roots or pi or anything else. And you know how I know? It's because other humans have done it before them and have done it since them, and so humans can do it, Dan. That's it. That's all you need to know. They're humans, and other humans have done this thing, so they could have too. It's... I'm taking a drink for just the absolute open racism. I'm sorry,
Take your
Dan,
time.
but non-white people can figure out math too. In fact, I would like to point out that a lot of the math that you think white people figured out was actually figured out by Indians and later Arabs.
Uh-huh.
And that's where you get a lot of the math that you think you figured out. Sure, some of it was
Oh,
Pythagoras.
and the Mayans as well.
Well, yeah, although the math that the Mayans figured out independently was learned by the Europeans through other routes that didn't really depend on the Mayans. But yeah, they also figured it out. And I was just pointing out, like, the lineage of the mathematical knowledge that comes out of Europe doesn't have all that many Europeans in it, ultimately. Get a lot of Indians and a lot of Arabs. And also, a lot of Jews working in Arab-speaking areas and working in Arabic. Because there's a lot of that, too. And to be fair, a fair few Christian monks also working in Arabic. That also happens. Oh, we'll take a drink from Mothra, because Mothra showed up. Thank you, Mothra. So, yeah, Dan, the fact that a group of people... I will give Dan the benefit of a doubt. Here, just a little bit. Because maybe he would say, well, it would be hard to figure out all of that work without a writing system. And you know what? That's fair. It would be a lot of work to try to figure out all this math without being able to write. That doesn't mean people didn't do it, though, Dan. Let's see. Normandy Foxtrot says, you ever see that poll that said 45% of Americans agree that we shouldn't be teaching Arabic numerals? Yeah, I've seen that.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I also saw...
45%?
Yeah, I also saw a similar poll with a similar amount of support for bombing Agrabah, the fake Middle Eastern country from Aladdin by Disney. Yep, gotta bomb Agrabah, everybody.
God damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Although I will say that to slightly ameliorate that, the Arabs actually often use a numeral system that are also based on the same Indian numerals from which Europeans get their numerals via the Arabs. But the numerals in Europe and in the Middle East have diverged a little bit. And so if you know Arabic numerals from like European contexts, that will not make you automatically able to read numerals that are in use in the Middle East. Although also a lot of areas in the Middle East have just adopted European style Arabic numerals, so it does get a little complicated. Yeah. But also here's an annoying thing. So the Arabs got their numerals from the Indians, right? Who wrote left to right. And that's easy for the Europeans. But the numerals used in Arab countries, even when they use the Middle Eastern version, still write numerals left to right. So you'll be reading Arabic and you'll come to numerals and you have to switch to left to right for the numbers. And then you have to switch back to right to left. It's super annoying.
That is annoying.
Yeah, but they got them from Indians, and the Indians wrote them left to right, so that's how the Arabs write them. And it's just like, every time I've ever come across numerals when I'm reading Arabic, I'm like, this is annoying, and because I have to switch gears in my brain to go left to right and then switch them back, and that takes effort. It's not an automatic thing. Yeah.
You go over hundreds of feet, very, very well designed. And then you can see all of these different mounds that are built all throughout America. Here's the one at Monk's Mound at Cahokia, larger at its base compared to the Pyramid of Giza.
Okay, but Dan, that's because the sandstone that the Giza pyramids are made of is tougher than soil, and so you can have a steeper incline. Like, that's it. That's not some amazing fact. That's just what soil mounds are. I'm taking another drink. This is ridiculous.
Why are they doing these things? Building
because it was a city.
These huge monuments everywhere.
Because they were building a whole fucking city. Cahokia is not just one mound, Dan. It's a city. cities have things like palaces, administrative areas, temples, marketplaces, shit like that. And you
That's
know what the
true.
people of
Yes.
Cahokia did? They built their buildings on top of earthen mounds. And the larger the building, the larger mound it required, and often the more important it was going to be, because Cahokia was the center of a continent-wide trade network. It was possibly the
God,
most
yeah.
important place in all of North America for centuries,
Where was
Dan.
this?
Where's Cahokia on a map? I know it's in like the southern part of like the US, but I'm not meaning like the south. Where was Cahokia? Now I have to double check because I don't want to get it wrong.
Someone in the chat knows.
Oh yeah. Oh
They'll
no,
do
it wasn't all that stuff. All right. Let's see. It's on the Mississippi River. It's in Illinois.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Really?
Yep. It was super
so cool.
important. Like, it's a whole ass city. In fact, at the time, like at the height of Cahokia, it was probably one of the largest like cities in the world in terms of number of inhabitants. It's in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
Wow.
it's a huge deal. I'm like, why were there big buildings? I don't know, Dan. Because that's how fucking cities work, man. What do you? You know, I have to. I'm taking another drink for like, why would there be big buildings in Cahokia? It's the dumbest shit. Why do you think there were big buildings in Egypt, Dan? Why do you think those Egyptian pyramids? How come that's not a sign of giants, Dan? Like, I'm sorry, humans can stack.
Wait,
Oh, okay.
I can answer this question. Because Joseph was, you know, an administrator
the granaries
in ancient Egypt, right? So he took all that Yahweh knowledge with him, and that's how they built. That's how they built big things.
Yes, that does check out, of course.
It does. Yes.
Oh, I just hate how selective it is, right? Because there's so much monumental architecture all over the place. But then Dan is like, oh, but this stuff here in North America, that couldn't be just people, right? Yeah.
Impossible.
It could, though. It could. And also, I don't want to diminish the awesomeness of Cahokia, but also, it doesn't take that much technology to figure out how to put dirt on top of other dirt. Right? Like, it does not require advanced technology to take the dirt from one place and put the dirt in a different place on top of other dirt that you previously did that to.
We figure this out when we're like
small children,
toddlers,
playing
in a sandbox. Like, it's
right. Like, do you ever have a shovel when you were a kid, Dan? Do you ever make a pile of dirt?
Soft hands. Just saying it again.
That might actually explain it. Like, get a real job. No, I don't want to say get a real job, Dan, but get a manual labor job for like a month, Dan.
Yeah.
Right.
Just once in your life.
Yeah. I think it is a good experience for people to have some kind of job experience somewhere where they get tired at the end of the day and need a shower at the end of the day. Do a job like that, right?
Cahokia, there's also evidence of human sacrifice. Why would they do that? And why are they obsessed with the sun, moon, and stars?
Gee, Dan, I don't know why an agricultural society might be obsessed with a thing that tells them when to plant their crops, Dan. What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm taking another goddamn drink. Fuck this, man. Yeah. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says the secret ingredients are racism and white evangelical arrogance. Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Yep.
It's not that hard to figure out why people need to know when the solstices are or when the equinoxes are. It's not hard to figure out.
So
crops have growing seasons. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll say this too. While most scholars today continue to downplay or outright ignore all the evidence for human sacrifice that is accommodated by the biblical texts. There's plenty of evidence there as well. that that this was just standard practice in in the culture, and was something that the many of the biblical writers recognized as a sanctioned, totally acceptable cultural practice
Mm-hmm.
for
Kyle,
Yahweh.
Kyle E. Pratt for $4.99 says, would blow Dan's mind that modern construction uses earthworks and earthen mounds still. Yeah. I would like for Dan to be taken onto like a pit mine, right? Not like a mine where you go underground, but like where you're just digging down into the ground and there's just an open
Mhm.
pit. And have him
Yeah.
look at the berms.
Right? Yeah.
Like would his mind be blown by the berms?
Oh my God!
Look at all that earth piled right there.
Giants.
Oh wow.
Must be giants.
Yeah, the Nephilim made this mine, this copper mine that was started in like the 60s in Arizona. Must be the giants.
Yeah.
I picked that because Arizona has a lot of open pit copper mines. So, you know.
Oh really?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
all over
wow.
the place. It's not the kind of place where tourists ever go. So like if you're just here as a tourist, you're not going to notice all the open pit copper mines. But if you're here working in the economy and maybe you have a job at a international or I suppose multinational electrical firm that has to install things in mines, then you might become more familiar with how many mines there are. And then maybe you'd be a certified miner for a little while.
Certified miner. Yeah.
I was a certified miner.
Really?
Oh yeah, I had the certificate
that's-
and everything. I had a little laminated card that said I had passed my mine safety training.
Where do you keep? You're a dinosaur. Where do you keep your laminated card?
A little rucksack.
Okay.
Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, you know, he isn't nearly as offended by Europeans lighting women on fire for no reason. Yeah, no, he probably isn't nearly as offended. Although, so here's one thing I want to point out. Witch trials didn't end because of some moral progress. They ended because people largely stopped believing in witches. So I think that if Dan actually thought that a person was a witch who was possibly endangering the eternal salvation of him and his family, he would be in favor of burning that person.
You know, he probably is. It's probably not all that difficult to get him there.
Probably not. No.
Just
I mean, he believes in things that are probably more ridiculous than that person is a witch.
is giants more or less ridiculous than that person is a witch?
I think it's more ridiculous
There we go.
because at least then that person is a witch. At least there's a person that you can point to that actually exists.
No, actually, and
Whereas
now,
with giants,
yeah,
there's nothing.
As I think about it too, there are plenty of people
Self-identify.
who self-identify and maintain a ritual commitment to witchcraft and insist on its efficacious benefits.
Chesh wants us
And they
to
probably
Chesh wants us to convince them that she's the witch.
I bet we could do that.
Getting set on fire would be no big deal for Chesh. She's used to having things burn her all the time.
Right.
Just a few weeks ago, I get a random picture, and it's like Chesh's belly with burn marks on it. I'm like, what happened? She's like,
Oh my
oh,
god.
I got into a fight with a turkey. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
So, somebody pointed out a while ago when we were discussing my finger wounds as well as Chesh's many body burns, that perhaps the problem is that we don't have to pay for doctor's visits to get these
Oh,
things.
so you're less cautious. Maybe,
after.
yeah, could be.
So it makes us more. It just makes us more. So maybe that's the lesson here: is universal health care just makes you careless.
I mean, it is technically a moral hazard in the economic sense. I don't think it's a very big one, though.
Here again is a plot showing all of the different giant skeletons that we found in our database.
No. Oh, sorry.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
In your database, made up of stories that have been unverified, then sure. Like, just like if I were to
Okay.
put up all the places that have Bigfoot sightings, I'm sure I could make a cool map with lots of dots on it. But that's all it is. It's just lots of dots that don't mean much. So, like, sure, technically, this is probably a map that you generated from a database, or someone else generated.
I bet the database that's maintained by the UFO people is way bigger than that.
Yeah. I should contact the UFO people. I saw a UFO once.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I still don't know what it was. I don't think it was aliens, though.
No, that's good.
Yeah. The fact that there was a thing in the sky that I didn't know what it was doesn't make it seem like it was aliens to me. People have tried to tell me what they think it was, and none of those seem to make sense, but that still doesn't make it aliens. So, like, sorry, but I saw a thing in the sky, not evidence of aliens, on its own, at least. Here's, Chris Monger says, are you saying these are just dots on paper? Yes, that is, well, dots on a computer screen. So, yeah, same thing, basically.
Some in California, not a lot in the Midwest, but tons are clustered in that Mississippi Valley region.
Oh, you mean that region with a lot of mounds where people, racists specifically, try to make up ancient civilizations that were white, obviously, to explain how it is that there were sophisticated urban centers, when obviously the actual Native Americans couldn't have done that because they're all just savages, right? Yeah, that's what you're doing, Dan. It's just a heat map of racism.
He's doing a racism.
Yep.
Yep.
And I've also just been reminded of one of my favorite map tropes, which is maps that are just population maps, but disguised as something else. I saw one that was just like, this is where all the mosques are in the UK, and it was all just around major cities. Like, there's a bunch in like Edinburgh and London, and it's like, okay, so what you're saying is that that Muslims tend to be where there are people in general.
More people. When there are more people concentrated in an area,
you also get more.
There's a chance
that
you're going to get more Muslim people.
Yeah, wow.
In this
shocking.
In this
wow.
Yeah. It's like, what's going on in London? It's like, there's just a lot of people, man. That's it.
Not that there aren't Muslims in the English countryside, but probably not enough to, construct a whole fucking mosque.
I feel like most mosques aren't constructed as mosques. I think most of them are purchased and then turned into mosques.
Certainly, yes.
Actually,
maybe, you know what, and this probably pisses a lot of people. Maybe a bunch of those old empty churches in the UK get repurposed for such things.
I mean, the church that my grandmother got married in is no longer a Catholic church.
Is it a bar?
I think it's actually a evangelical church.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So last I heard, my cousin had bought it and turned it into an evangelical church. But that was a while ago, and that could have changed. But I don't know. I am not sure how I feel about it being turned, because I have to know what kind of evangelical church, and even for evangelical churches, it's a bit.
Dear.
But yeah, this is a congregation where people claimed to have seen demonic Pokemon IRL, and not just that it's encouraging demonic activity. So, like, yikes.
Yes.
Yeah. But hey, you know what? That's okay. Naramda puts for $5 says, to be fair, Muslims being concentrated in the same places as everyone else tells you something important. Yeah, that Muslims are like everybody else.
Like people. They're people, everyone.
Yeah,
they're people.
It tells you that they're just people.
They're just normal people.
Right. It tells you that they're not like forming weird enclaves out in the middle of nowhere.
That's very interesting. Even
It's not very interesting, Dan. It's not.
Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, I hate this one.
When he was on a campaign, traveling and writing in his diary, you can go see his diary today. It's all digitized in the Library of Congress. He says, the eyes of that species of extinct giants whose bones filled the mounds of America have gazed on Niagara as ours do now.
Yeah. I'm going to take a drink. So not only is that a slight misquote, do you know what giants he was talking about? Because there were real giants that he's talking about.
I have no idea what
mammoths. He's talking about fucking mammoths who were recently discovered in North America. He's talking about mammoths.
You're kidding.
No. Abraham Lincoln was thinking back to how like there used to be mammoths, and they also would have seen Niagara Falls, and how cool like the stretch of the natural history of North America is, which he's not wrong about. But he's talking about fucking mammoths. Well, not talking about fucking mammoths. That wasn't what he was talking. He was talking about mammoths. Sorry.
Wow.
No one.
Back when was it the American or the Canadian Falls was actually broken by like an
A little island.
island that was that
I think
that,
I think in 1884 it was still broken by that island, but I'm not sure.
do you remember if it was the Canadian Falls or the American Falls?
I don't remember. I just know that the
Okay.
falls themselves were broken. I don't know which side that was on.
Yeah.
Also, I don't remember when the treaty was signed that established the exact border, so it's possible that it was not obvious at the time either.
Probably not.
With this. This is a very interesting statement. Look at the two words he chose to use. He says, a species of extinct giants.
Yeah, because mammoths aren't the same species as humans or anything else that's alive today.
I think it's because in 1848, Abraham Lincoln was rubbing shoulders with the Ivy League, school planters, all the archaeologists. He's out having
The
dinner with all
school
these people.
planters? Who are the school planters?
I don't know.
In the 18,
Are we talking
in the
indigenous
1850s?
like schools that were used to like strip them of their culture, heritage, language, dress?
That
you
might be
know.
what he's talking about. I think he's talking about establishing universities in the United States.
Okay.
But
he's
like a fucking evangelical. So this is
Yeah,
all
church
he
planting,
knows
school
about are
planting.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
It's the
But
that's
also, wait, if he's rubbing shoulders with school planters and academics and whatever, aren't those the elites that
Yeah,
are trying to hide the truth?
Yeah, there is that. So I don't
but
know where
not
he's
from
gonna
each
go with
other,
that.
Fish.
Oh, are they? Because they're all in on it.
Oh,
They're all in on it. And
course. How silly of me.
They
Yeah.
figured they could trust the president of the United States. If you can't trust the president of the United States to keep a
People think
secret,
he's
who
bad.
can you trust?
But also, Abraham Lincoln did once say, "Don't believe everything you read on the internet."
Yeah.
Dutch Tunicate official for $2 says, "My brain hurts. Also, mammoths are cool. They sure are." One of my favorite mammoths is actually in a museum over in British Columbia. My favorite like mammoth reconstructions.
Oh,
It's over in
cool.
Vancouver. What's Natural History Museum called there?
Probably Victoria, and I believe it's just the is it the British Columbia Museum or the?
I think it is the British Columbia. It might be like the British Columbia Royal Museum or something like that.
Yes, something
But,
like that. It's
But
phenomenal.
I've been
Spectacular.
there and I saw that mammoth,
Yeah.
and I was aware of that mammoth reconstruction before I went there, and I was very impressed by it while I was there. So it is one of my favorites. And
Yeah.
I followed their Facebook page for a very long time back when I still had Facebook.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very
'cause
nice.
I loved it there. I thought it was a great museum. So,
Did you manage to get yourself finally like banned by Facebook? Did something happen recently?
Yeah, a little while
Can you
ago,
fix
they
it?
were like, "Oh, your account has been locked," and I'm like, "Okay, I don't care," and I just stopped.
Good.
Yep.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
You're
I
like,
told,
"Oh, well."
yeah, I told like the 2 or 3 people that some still used Facebook Messenger with me. I was like, "Hey, switch to like Signal or text or WhatsApp or something."
Yeah.
And they were all just like,
Got it.
"Okay," and then they did.
They knew exactly what was going on with all these giant bones they're uncovering from all these different mounds, to the point where it led our past president to say there was a species of giants that are now extinct.
So what this means is that Dan didn't look into this. So Dan just took this as it is from other people who told him this.
So sorry, I just noticed this in the chat from Robert. Adset says Goat Island is the divider between the falls, and as far as I know, is American, certainly by occupation, since you can only get to it from the American side, and that is all true. But what I'm talking about is that there was like another in the mid 19th century, I believe up to at least the mid 19th century, there was another island.
That's my
that
recollection as
divided-
well.
Yeah, and I don't remember whether it was actually divided the Canadian falls or the U.S. falls themselves, but there was another one at one point in time that has eroded and dropped into the Niagara Gorge.
Oh, you know what? There's one nice thing about being back on my my backup laptop, and that is that the Ethernet to USB adapter that I bought, because the Wi-Fi kind of sucks, now has been used. Because like the next day after I bought it, my computer was returned, and so I just started using that again. So currently,
Oh.
I am on the Ethernet to USB thing. Anyway, here we go.
I think that's a very, very interesting clue. 1936, this guy, Henry Clyde Chetrone, who spent decades digging up the mounds and was really obsessed with this, wrote tons of books. He was regarded as the closing era expert on this very, very topic. The guy that spent more time doing it than anyone else of his time, was very, very up to speed on this.
Yes. Was he a researcher, would you say? Was he one of these some researchers who believe?
One of his statements he put in the opening section of his book is this: mound builders, what magic in the very word, what an epitome of all that is romantic and mysterious in human experience. Mere mention of the name suffices to conjure visions of shadowy race, dimly viewed across the ages, come from nowhere knows whence, gone nowhere whether or when. Giants in physical stature and legion in numbers, weird rites and long-lost magic arts, populous cities and impressive temples, haughty priests and human sacrifice.
So, I want to point out there, what this guy is doing is specifically denying that it is in fact the people whom we know built them that built them. Now, I don't know if we knew that in 1936. Maybe, of course, part of the reason that we didn't know that was, well, the racism. But that's all that's happening here. Like, nope, couldn't have actually been the native peoples of, say, Ohio or Illinois who built these. Gotta be some mysterious and largely unevidenced race of giants. Why? Racism.
Because brown people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll take a drink for the racism. Not because I'm happy about it, but because I need my brain to cool down a little bit.
That's written from the leading expert of the closing giant mound researching era, because right after
the leading expert of the closing mound giant era.
The reason he says it's the closing era of this mound research is because it's the last period where people were taking seriously the idea that it wasn't the Native Americans who built the mounds, right? So Dan has to rely on century-old racist bullshit because all the new stuff actually attributes the mounds to, the people who lived there, the human people who lived there, and who were largely ethnically cleansed from the area. Let's not forget that part.
It was just a very convincing description of credibility there.
Yeah.
This is when all the laws started popping up saying no more digging in all these mounds.
You mean no more desecrating the burial places of Native Americans who have descendants living today who might have something to say about it, Dan? You mean that? Because you also can get that permission because there still is archaeological work being done at these mounds. You just actually, need permission from the people who have the cultural heritage tied to these areas. Just like, Dan, if someone went and dug up your grandmother, you might have a problem with it. But if they asked you first and you said, yeah, sure, I guess so, after they described what they wanted to do and why they were doing it, then maybe you wouldn't have a problem with it. And maybe we should actually have laws that say that you can't just go willy-nilly digging up sites that still actually have ties and are still held sacred by modern people groups. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what, though? We're coming up to where it's over. So if either you have anything you want to add on top of that, go for it, and then we will start closing things up here.
Is now the time to shill, or are we still doing that?
Well, unless you have anything to say about like the actual topic here, and it doesn't look like Bish does, because I think she's currently muted.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I just I was typing, but also it's like I'm so frustrated by this guy. You can always tell a creationist or like a bad faith interlocutor or even like American right-wing conservatives because they just repeat shit that they hear and they never ever fact check it ever.
They do not.
Which is hilarious because they will tell you all day up and down, left and right. We don't like question we don't have a problem with people questioning things or, checking. We like thinking for ourselves.
Bullshit.
Okay.
So
sure.
This this last thing that he said reminds me, and is not that dissimilar. Vish and I did a series of streams last month, all about Michael Jones's idea. Michael Jones from Inspiring Philosophy, and his ideas about the historical exodus and a historical conquest. And one of the talking points among Christian apologists like this, who insist that the biblical stories of these things had to have occurred at least close to, you know, how they're described. Something that they will often depend on is this repeated statistic that over 90% of the area of Israel-Palestine remains unexcavated by archaeologists. One of the reasons for that is because people live there, right? And
you can just go dig through their land.
Well, and this is tragically something that's been happening.
Yeah, plot twist. Sometimes when the Israeli government wants to just annex places in the West Bank, they'll go, this is a cultural heritage site, and then they'll just kick out all the Palestinians, bulldoze their houses, and then, quote, excavate anyway. So...
Yep. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, how dare they stop me from grave robbing? Yeah, it turns out that Indiana Jones is not how archaeology works. It might have been when some of those movies were set, but like, remember in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, when he's going through an ancient temple and there's a bunch of people who live there and who are trying to kill him for invading their homes, and then he just kills dozens of them? Yeah,
I try to forget that movie.
Why did you pick the bad one?
Well, because that's the one where he does the most obvious killing of the people who actually own the site that he's trying to investigate.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, not only is that murder because they are the rightful owners of that location, but that's a thing that, like, that's not how archaeology is supposed to work. The way archaeology actually is supposed to work is, first, you figure out who actually has interest in that land, whether as, like, this is where I live, or this is where my farm is, or whatever, or who has cultural ties to that land such that it might be their ancestors whose graves you're digging up. And you get their permission, and then also you get permission from any governments around so that everyone is okay with what you're doing. And then you do it. And I'm sorry that Dan doesn't like that we now actually have formal laws encoding, like, archaeological ethics. But archaeological ethics are really important for two big reasons. One is just because, yeah, you shouldn't go around rifling through other people's cultural heritage for your own pleasure. That's not an okay thing to do, without their permission, I mean. And the other one is because archaeology has a really long history of being super unethical, because you know who basically started the modern field of archaeology? Yeah, it was the fucking Nazis.
The Ahnenerbe.
Yeah, the Ahnenerbe, which was basically Hitler's propaganda-focused archaeology division, are responsible for a lot of the earliest archaeological digs that are actually incorporated into what we now know about archaeology in, like, a formal setting. So yeah, archaeology has had to be doing a lot of work to get out from under that shadow, in addition to just actually, you know, not wanting to go being actual grave robbers. So that's why, Dan. That's why we have these laws. Sorry that you don't like it. Anyway, that is where we are stopping for now. So, we're only a little bit over. I am going to say we are not going to be doing Star Trek. Part of that is because Bent is not well, and I don't like it when he is unable to make it. Because the entire thing of Watch Party started out as an excuse for me to have watch parties with Bent, where he watched some Power Rangers because he was in the Power Rangers game. And so it has continued to largely be a thing where, like, if Bent doesn't show up, then we're not going to do it. So that's the situation today. So, Vishanti, do you have anything you want to tell people about before we get out of here?
Nah, I'll pass.
All right, Kip, you got 10 seconds.
All right, I'm on tonight on my channel at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, for Budget Scripture Saturday. Unfortunately, Nitty and the Weasels are both unavailable to join me tonight. However, I will be appearing with guest hosts from the Humanity, Tommy and Matt. which should be. They've already been desecrating the thumbnail image, so this should be fun.
Awesome. All right. Here, as far as I know, that the upload and stream schedule is not going to be affected by my computer troubles. So, let's see. The plan is on Tuesday to do Matt with Maddie. I have to actually download the video. I don't think I even downloaded it on the other computer, so that's not really a big setback. So there is that. I have confirmed with Maddie that she is good for it. So that should be on Tuesday. That's at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Then on Thursday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, we have Creationism is a Cognito Hazard, where the late David Menton gave a whole long talk about Lucy, the Australopithecus afarensis, where, yes, he does, for some reason, decide to sexualize a non-human primate skeleton from several million years ago. And yeah, it's fucking weird, because they seem to do that a lot. It's really uncomfortable. But anyway... yeah, so that's going to be about that's a 48-minute video, and that'll be, again, noon on Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Then on Friday, the plan is to do the Star Trek episode. Again, I'm not even the producer on that, so it doesn't matter much if my computer is crapping itself. As long as I can get on Roll20 and get on Discord, I'm good, and my laptop is more than capable of both of those. Then on Saturday, the plan is to be back here with more of this, because, guys, we only got through like 5 minutes of this. We got through very little of this talk. So yeah, we're gonna be back here. We're gonna do a little bit more Dan Biddle. And
How far did we get today?
We got about 5 minutes, a little bit more, actually, a little bit more than 5 minutes. I think we got like 5 minutes and 10 seconds or so.
It looks like we have 12 minutes or 11 minutes left, don't we? Or is it
about
is there
that?
just
Yeah,
a
about 11.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
at this pace, we have 2 more weeks worth.
2 more weeks.
Yeah,
Got it.
at this pace. So that is the plan for the next week. Again, I am not doing Star Trek today. However, I did get done the edit for a...
Sorry. As I'm thinking about it, I was going to say I will not be here next week.
Okay.
Because I'm traveling around a little bit with some friends. We're actually coming to see Dapper next Sunday,
That's true.
which is gonna be fun. Yeah,
Woohoo!
We gotta coordinate like times and locations and all that. So
I guess we do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just going to look for like the only living dinosaur.
yeah, but what if I'm
in
inside the house?
Arizona.
Also, I am
just
far from the only
assumed that
living
your
dinosaur
head-
in Arizona. Not even close.
That's fine. I just assumed that your head would stick out the chimney or something, and we'd be able to go.
Look, I have a chimney. There is absolutely no way I could stick my head out of it. I'm not that tall, and also it's way too small.
Yeah.
The only birds that
like-
that are
He's just gonna go
interacting-
around neighborhoods waiting for like dinosaur tails to be sticking out of
Yeah.
like
The
windows
window.
and stuff.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
I fit inside my own residence, Kip. Anyway, I just lost track of what I was saying. Oh, right. So, I did edit a video together. I am planning to hit render on it after this. So I am hoping to have a video up for early access either today or on like first thing Tuesday. It is the next Carl Baugh video. So yeah, it is the Carl Baugh video where also, hey, you guys know who Chrissy Hansen is?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is technically a collaboration with Chrissy Hansen because she gave me her article about Carl Baugh's history, and I read it, and I put the actual article on screen, and so all of her research on Carl Baugh, including her footnotes, in case you want to check on her sources, is in that video, and it takes up like a third or so of the video is just the absolute shady nonsense that Carl Baugh has been getting up to, basically since he graduated high school. So,
Holy.
Yeah.
Chrissy's a gem.
Chrissy's
That's,
awesome.
Yes. That
So-
sounds very exciting.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Chrissy Hansen, who is a biblical scholar, and I was going to say she hasn't been on the channel, but technically that's not true.
you
But
know-
also you can't go watch that. So like I don't know.
The word, the word polymath, probably shouldn't be thrown around.
I mean,
all
Chrissy
that
might qualify.
discriminately, but Chrissy
She's
might
close
qualify.
at least.
Yeah, she's
So
close.
yeah, if you don't know her, well, what I would say is watch the video that comes out on early access if you have early access, because her research skills are on full display, and she spent
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so long looking through digitized newspaper archives for every mention of Karl Bosch she could, and it took so much work, so much work.
Yep.
And then when I asked if she was interested in having, that in my video, she just sent me the link. She's like, "Yeah, here you go."
Yep.
Which is amazing. So,
That's awesome.
Big thank you to Chrissy Hansen. And I'm going to get out of here and hit render on that video so that you can all enjoy the fruits of her labor.
Yay!
All right. Remember, everybody, stay safe out there. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And also, ICE must be abolished.
Hey, before you leave, I just want to take a second to thank my patrons and channel members, especially those pledging $20 or above. Sealoof, Ben Tovand, Tapioca Weasel, The Plastic Mouse, Mikau Dominiak, Bear Kolesqua, Edwin M., Kenneth Swenson, John Ackerman, Sphincter of Doom, Regios, Our Favorite Universe, Ian Chen, Eleron Teller, Phil Rivara, David Hercules, Joshua Geese, Dan Sheedy, Pega Jace, Arrow Dodger, Gordon Loves Science, Amber Athelian, Prixie Purple, Agricola Sequa, Me, Myself, and I, and Ian Kiambi. It's because of my channel members and patrons whom you're seeing on screen that this channel can stay afloat. Without you, it would all shut down. If you want to join the team, there's a link to join the channel below this video, and there's a link to join the Patreon in the description. On the Patreon, you can get a 15% discount for pledging annually, and either way, you get early access to virtually all of my scripted videos months before they come out for the general public. Thanks for watching.